Alright guys, I'm going to try to keep this video under 10 minutes because I have somewhere I have to be relatively shortly, but to all the followers of my YouTube channel who are currently watching this, I apologize for it being over a year since the last time I posted a video, but I think after this morning's events I'm probably going to get back into, creating more videos on a regular basis. But anyway, I have an extremely exciting story to share with you all, and it was freaking out of this world. I had two out-of-body experiences this morning. Both of them completely intentional, completely like self-induced. No use of any substances. No binaural beats or any harmonic frequencies. Nothing like that used. It was all completely self-induced. Just laying right there in my bed, and man, it was absolutely amazing. The first one was really scary though. It was my first one that I'd ever actually done intentionally. So, I mean, I've had an out-of-body experience before, but it was completely unintentional, and it was just a strange experience. But this one was intentional, but it was really weird, because it was almost like half sleep paralysis, half astral projection. So, what was interesting, the first one, I was pretty much all day yesterday, I kept watching and looking at different information on astral projection, just reading people's stories about it, and there's this one documentary that I'll probably post a link to that talks about it. This one guy, he's invented this new term called the phase, which is basically just the hypnagogic state of, you being half asleep, half awake, the in-between stage or anything, or whatever. But anyway, so long story short, I'm lying down in my bed, and I didn't go to bed until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm lying down, and I think I woke up at whatever time it was. I don't know what time it was, but either way, I woke up, and it was and I'm lying there, and I just, for some reason, I thought about it because I've been thinking about it all day yesterday. I thought about trying to astral project and waiting for that hypnagogic state to actually happen. So somehow I managed to catch it. I actually caught myself in the hypnagogic state, noticing that my body was pretty much entirely asleep, where I was awake. I was phased. I was like dozing off into sleep, and then I just snapped to, and I was like, oh, okay, well, let me try it out. So I did, and it was literally, if you catch yourself in this state, and this is the first time I've ever actually been able to successfully do it, you catch yourself in this state, it is almost extremely easy to just walk right out of your body. At least for me, that was my experience, and I couldn't believe how easy it was. I've tried so many times to have an out-of-body experience or astral projection, or astrally project, and it was just extremely unsuccessful until I watched this documentary and just kind of really was able to catch myself in this phase. So I literally I stood right up and got right out of my body, and I felt really weak. It was strange. It makes sense, because I think you kind of have to get used to your astral body while you're in it consciously. So all these people blowing me up. I posted about it on Facebook, and I'm getting all these notifications about it. But anyway, so I couldn't, thinking about it now, I really honestly cannot believe how easy it was for me to just walk right out. But so what had happened was, it was really strange, because my condo looked different than it actually is, and I had my TV for some reason was right by where my nightstand is, and at the foot of my bed, and anyway, I stood up, and I actually felt so weak that I actually grabbed the back of this chair, I was standing behind it, and I was like hunching over it, trying to hold myself up, and I wasn't sure if I was actually outside my body or not, and things were just really strange, because it felt like I was still in sleep paralysis. If anybody has ever experienced sleep paralysis, it's really scary, and it's a really strange feeling. And I was trying to talk and verbalize things, and it felt like that feeling that you get when you have sleep paralysis. And it was really scary. But I was walking around, and I remember the documentary told me to see if I could, to bring myself to the mirror, to a mirror, and the only mirror I really have is in my bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and I stood in front of this mirror, and I kind of could see myself, and I saw some strange object appear behind me for a quick second, and I'm walking around. I really don't even know if I'm outside my body. I'm trying to figure it out, really. I didn't know if it was real or not. It was so strange, and it was kind of creepy too, because I heard this strange sound of this little girl, and I could hear noises. Not necessarily. I don't think it was crying. I don't think she was upset. I don't think she was She wasn't screaming, but I just heard noises. It sounded like a little girl in the room that's directly behind this computer, and it was almost like poltergeist because I saw like this TV that was like all static. It was like an old TV, and she was sitting to the left of it, just kind of hanging out in front of it. And I was trying to talk to her, but I was still like in sleep paralysis while I was in. So because it felt so real, it was so strange. Like I felt like I was in my physical body just walking around, but I wasn't. I was obviously after I realized that I was actually actually projecting. So so I'm trying to like talk to this girl. I was like, who are you? Like I was trying to. It's really awkward, like strange, but like I couldn't like verbalize what I wanted to say. And so I looked away and I went back to the room. I think maybe like less than a minute later, and she wasn't there. But that's pretty much that experience. I think I gave up when I wasn't really sure if I was outside my body or not, so I just kind of went back to my body. And the next thing I know, I was just kind of laying there, and I felt myself just kind of come back into myself, and it was a really strange, interesting feeling. And then when I finally opened my eyes, I realized I was like, holy shit! Like that was an actual, excuse my language, but that was an actual out-of-body experience. Crazy. Okay, so the next one, I was like, that was really creepy and really scary. Like, I was thinking, like, in my head, I was like, that was really creepy and really scary, but you know what? I did it, so I'm going to try it again. And this time, I think I fell asleep, went to sleep, and then woke back up, and then just kind of laid there, and tried to catch myself, fall back into the phase, or the hypnagogic state, as you will. And I was able to catch it again, and this time was even easier, and it was actually much more. I felt like I had much more power. I literally just sat up and stood up. It was crazy. I couldn't believe like how easy it was. I was like, holy smokes! Like you literally just, if you're in that state, if you catch yourself in that deep enough state of being in between half asleep and half awake, or in that in between stage. For at least for me anyway, I've never experienced it to be that easily, but this morning I don't know what happened, but I just got right up, and I went to. It was funny because I went to go walk into my condo again, and I was like, you know what? No, I want to go outside, right? But if I'm gonna go outside, I'm gonna do it in style. So what I did was the curtains were closed on this, and I just walked right into it, and I pushed myself through it. And it was a really interesting feeling because it wasn't like I was a ghost where I could just basically like just walk through it like air, but it was like I had to force myself through the curtains, through the door, through the screen, like through the glass and all that, and I had to like really push myself through it. Like I had to like drag myself out the other side, and I jumped off of my balcony onto the ground, and and it felt physical. It was so interesting. It felt physical. It was so strange. And so I'm like jumping, and I'm trying to, because I wanted to fly. Like one of the main reasons why I'm so interested in astral projecting, not only just traveling and seeing people and telling stories about it. Like, hey, I saw you doing this and this and that. Like, what are you, psychic? Like, no, I fucking astrally projected it. Excuse me. But anyway, so I started to convince myself. I was like, all right, I can fly. So I kept jumping, and I was jumping and jumping. And eventually, I started levitating, and I literally just like flew around this tree over to the front of my building, and I floated back down because I felt like it took like a lot of energy and focus to really be able to like to just fly like that. It was crazy. But I walked out, and I landed, and I like looked at some person who was staring at me while I was flying. They were like, why? They were looking at me like strange, like as if I did something wrong, I don't know. It was like a child, like someone, I swear, like someone like in there, like 11 or 12 years old or whatever. It was interesting. It was a male figure, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. And I came across. This was what was interesting about it, because I'm not entirely sure if I was in like the full astral realm where I was literally just in this realm, but the physical, like the anti-physical, like the in-between astral realm, or some other realm that was close to this one. But I came across my friend, two of my friends, and I was talking to my buddy Basili, and I was like, hey Basili, like what's going on? Like I'm having an out-of-body experience right now. And he was like, and my buddy Tony was just like, how are you doing that? And then my buddy Basili was just like, oh, like you won't find any information on it or something like that. I don't know why. Like I don't know, my buddy's My buddy's he's a funny guy, but anyway, he was like, "Oh yeah, you won't really find anything on it. It's really interesting. This and that. It's really like hard to do or whatever." And I told Tony, I was like, "Listen, dude, like there's a lot of information out there. I'll show you how to do it if that's really what you want to do." But they had me almost convinced that I was back in my body because I was trying to fly again. Like after they were standing there, and I was talking to them, I was like, "Screw this, I'm gonna try to fly again." And I tried flying, and it just wasn't happening. And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I think it was because I was talking to them, it like sort of grounded me and like made me think that I wasn't actually projecting, but I was, because I just flew like 2 seconds before that. But the mind, when you're outside your body like that, and you're in the like in whatever astral realm that I was in, you're very in the moment. Like you're extremely in the moment. So whatever's happening right now is happening right now. You don't think about what happened before. You know, it's so interesting. It's almost like there was like no time. It was just that moment of now. It was really interesting. So anyway, I had other confirmations that I was not in my body though, because I leaned back for some reason, like 2 or 3 times, and I was able to like hold myself up in a strange position that I couldn't really do in this realm and in the physical realm. So that was interesting, but for some reason, like I still wasn't fully like convinced that I was no longer like in my body. So I kind of just, I didn't give up, but I was like, okay, well I guess I'll just go back now because I don't really know what's going on. And after a couple times of those and just like looking at people who were looking at me weird because I was flying a second ago and all of that, I don't really have too much memory besides me just thinking about being back in my body. And literally as soon as the thought happened, next thing I know, I was laying there in that state of like being completely you know, that state, the phase like, of being half asleep, half awake or whatever. And it was just really disorienting. Like I could feel myself go back into my body again. I could feel all that. And by the way, everything was absolutely super bright. Like colors were like really like really pronounced and vivid. And especially like the daylight. The daylight was just like it was there. Like it was almost like almost like there was no source of light. It was just the light was just everywhere. It was light all over the place. Like I didn't remember seeing the sun, looking at the sun, but I don't remember there like being like the sun. It was strange. But of course the sunlight was there. It was the morning time, so whatever. But yeah, it was extremely, incredibly interesting. And I want to do it again. I'm gonna try it again. I'm extremely excited. I tried doing it again for a 3rd time, and it didn't happen. I only just had like all that happened was I just had like this really interesting like vivid dream, but it wasn't astral projection. It was a dream. I could definitely feel the difference. But man, it was absolutely amazing. I really want to do it more. So like I want to, if I can master like doing like astral projection like this, out of body experiences, I'll probably just dedicate or create a channel dedicated to me traveling about the universe and the world and seeing other people, and you know, probably going down to underground civilizations or whatever, and just documenting it and sharing with you guys, and you know, hopefully I could make a big channel out of it. It'd be pretty cool. So that's pretty much it. It was extremely powerful experience. I couldn't believe how easy it was once you actually catch yourself in that state. It was like butter. I just walked right out of my body. Like I had to consciously tell myself that I was leaving my body, but it wasn't. It felt as real as if I was just getting up. And what was interesting, on a side note real quick too, is the first experience, the reason why I was so confused is because when I looked at my bed after I got out, I couldn't see myself in bed. And that was the strange part about it. But the second time I did see myself, I was like, okay, I can see myself, there I am. So I'm out of my body. I'm gonna go outside and blah blah blah. But those were 2 entirely separate experiences, and they were very different from each other in their own ways, and that was just really strange. How different they were, but it was almost like an introductory experience for the first time. It was really interesting. But either way, I gotta go because I have some places to be and people to see and all that. So I'm gonna head out of here. But I'm glad to see you guys were as excited about hearing about my experiences as I am about telling you them, and I'm looking forward to having more and freaking possibly making a channel out of it. So take care, guys.